residents of Westbury here in Johannesburg say they are once again living in fear for their lives following another upsurge in gang-related violence. Now, this comes after a spate of gang-related shooting incidents which resulted in several deaths and multiple injuries. In the last weekend, more than 10 people were shot in the area. And for more on this, let's welcome community activist Dereleen James. Dereleen, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Look, more than 40 people have been shot in the area since the beginning of this year. What exactly is the issue in Westbury, do you think?
I think the issue in Westbury is the fact that we have a government that is incapable and unable of, to serve the residents there. We've seen the minister there, we've seen the MEC of community safety, we've seen various leaders there, and no one seems to know the know-how. We have the National Drug Master Plan. While we all know that this is drug related, it is as a result of drug turf, or at least that's how it started. We are seeing no tangible plan from this government. We're seeing more boots on the ground, but we're seeing boots on the ground that is just loitering the area, not even knowing where to start or where to begin. So yes, Alicia, right now, I too am at my wit's end, because I think for years on end we've been doing these interviews before we would call on government, with the hope that they would actually come to our communities with a tangible plan, a plan that speaks to a certain level of intelligence-driven operations, that speaks to, involve the involvement of all the other parties responsible for addressing substance abuse and gangsterism. And to date, we are still waiting to see that plan unfold.
So, Dereleen, you're saying there's absolutely no collaborative efforts between the community as well as the government and as well as, I suppose, some of the community policing forums in the area?
You know what, for all these years, we have always said, as a community, we are doing the most. We are doing what we can with what we have, which is actually very little, because most of the organizations in that area, as well as Eldorado Park, doesn't even receive funding. We have said to government, let us look at the implementation of the National Drug Master Plan. When it comes to drugs and to substance, we need so much more than just SAPs on the ground, than just boots on the ground. We need Department of Social Development to sort of address the issue of child neglect as a result of substance. We need economic development as a result of the high unemployment rate within the area. We need programs that can look at reintegration when these boys come back from the rehab into a same environment. What is there? What safety net do they have? If you look at the state of these communities, if you look at service delivery in this area, the communities are dark, it's riddled with drugs, with dirt. It's just not conducive for that which we say we are addressing. So to date, many years later, I'm at a loss for words today, because I'm not even sure what more is it that we are meant to say or meant to highlight, because at this point, government always says we're going to go into the community so that we can hear from the community. You have been hearing from us for many years on end. We've had many senseless killings. We have said in 2013, when the president came out to Eldorado Park, address these issues before we start mirroring the Cape Flats. If you look at what's transpiring and what's unfolding in our communities, every second day someone is being gunned down. We're not getting communication from SAPs to say that, we have arrested X amount of drug dealers, we have arrested X amount of shooters. We are not getting any response or communication from them saying, we actually have a tangible plan in place to address getting guns off our streets. What are they actually doing other than just coming into the community, a big PR exercise, leaving us and saying that they have more boots on the ground, but around the corner people are being gunned down?
You know what I find interesting, Dereleen, is that, you guys are situated, or Westbury is situated right next to a police station, right? And we hear stories like your e-hailing services cannot gain access into the area, or vital services like your medical services cannot access the area due to the gang violence, as well as other activities that are happening in the area. But what is the community in itself doing to eradicate crime in the area?
Well, like I said to you earlier on, Alicia, over the years, communities have basically organized themselves in terms of, forming groupings, trying to have NGOs, trying to assist at-risk youth, that has fallen victim to gangsterism, that has fallen victim to sort of substance abuse. You see that there are meetings happening in the community, to support and assist mothers of children who have been, in gangs. So the community can only do so much. At the end of the day, where's the money going? We're paying tax, we're taxpayers. Do we see any of that money reflecting in our communities? We can do so much, but we can report every other day who is selling the drugs, who is causing the chaos, but we report it, and the very next day we see exactly the same people back out on the streets. We understand that everyone has the right to bail, but it just cannot continue the way it is.
I mean, Dereleen, look, it's election season as well. Politicians, I'm sure, have been in your area campaigning. What are some of the promises that they've made, and which parties do you think will actually champion some of the challenges that you've highlighted with us today?
Well, Alicia, it just so happens that I am an executive member of a party called of Action SA. Mm-hmm. And as Action SA, we actually do have a policy offering that actually addresses substance use disorder. It is no use coming into government, and we see this happening all the time, where you come in and new political parties take over and they throw out the baby with the bath and the water and everything. They don't look at what is on the table and what hasn't been done. If the country does have a plan to address substance use disorder and gangsterism, let us look at how we can strengthen those policies. As Action SA, we're saying, it is of no use that we go out there and we arrest all our kids, we arrest everyone, because we understand, the enablers of substance abuse, the enablers of all of these social ills, such as inequality, such as poverty, such as unemployment. Let us look at putting measures in place to address these social ills, to address these enablers. So as Action SA, we are saying, let us support the mother, the family, the user, and let us look at efforts such as, what is happening at our borders where drugs are coming in, efforts that will address illicit drug trafficking. Let us look at the implementation of specialized courts so that we no longer see a drug dealer going into court, getting arrested on a Monday and coming out on a Friday. Let us look at getting the doors of recovery closer to communities. Communities have nowhere to go. When a mother or someone falls victim to any social ill, you don't know where to go. What services are closely linked to communities where they don't have to travel into town, because of unemployment, they don't even have taxi fare. So as Action SA, we are saying that, we are actually looking, at having a ministry that specifically focuses on substance, because we understand that it cuts across all the departments. If you look at Department of Education, so many children dropping out of school because of drug abuse. And that is because we don't have enough social workers deployed to our schools. We expect our teachers to deal with social ills instead of teaching. So as Action SA, we are saying it's going to take a lot more than guns blazing in our communities. It's going to take a lot more than the deployment of more boots. It's going to take an effort that speaks to, bringing all the departments together, a coordinated effort, and then we can sit around the table and look at, how we can address the scourge and the plight that is unfolding in many communities.